to go in his eyes. So
that's absolutely right.
He was definitely a person of the dark.
Young lady, do you accept that?
He was Middle East and he was white.
Now y'all see his image here. I want y'all to take a look. I want you to come forth. You as well. You too, young brother. I want y'all to come forth, right? Because this is the true image of Jesus Christ, the Black Messiah. You don't subscribe to the Bible completely. But the problem is not the Bible. The problem is who has been teaching us this Bible. That's why in our community, there's a lot of people. Huh? Cut the mic? What's wrong? Can we turn it down? Nope. All right, I can yell. I can be louder than the mic, just so you know. The authorities, see, look, the authorities don't even want this message to come out. Right. But they can't stop the God's message. I want to show you something. Brother Hightower. So I have a question. So I'm going to answer that question you just brought me. I have a question for you. Do you believe in God? At all?
I recognize that we are one with the Creator. We are all one with the Creator. So I recognize that God exists. This is
recognize that God exists.
Okay, but this is not an argument about what you're saying. I was asked a question. I recognize what you're saying. I recognize what he's teaching in regards to us and not going ourselves. And I also recognize that the original Jews more likely not would survive the Jews when he killed them. This is not a disagreement between us.
No, we're not saying it's a disagreement, but we are Israel United in Christ, right? We a movement that are for the people. We are for the benefit of our people. And we see that there is a problem in the black community. You appear to be an educated man, right? So I would say you can see as well that there is a problem in our community. One of the problems that we can identify in our community is we as a people do not know who our God is. So my question to you, are you telling me that what the Bible that we believe is incorrect, right? So my question is, okay, how do we as a people find a relationship with this God? Because we need help. We need a spiritual help. How do we find connection with this God that you're saying you acknowledge exists? How do we get there?
First, we have to recognize who we are. Okay.
And who are we?
We are, okay, as descendants of African ancestors. We don't study history. We don't recognize ourselves as a community. We have accepted the principle that if I get mine, you got to get yours. We have no economic unity, just like Dr. Claude Anderson regarding economics. We don't have a unified economic base. We don't have a unified political base. We don't have a unified media base. We don't have a unified legislative base. So that anything that goes on, we're at the beck and call of those who have it.
So if we were to have an economic base, media base, as well as systems and structures for us to financially benefit, you think we would be better as a people?
Well, let's look at this. We are the biggest consumers in the country. Okay, we literally $1 that's produced in the black community goes out, doesn't even circulate once. Whereas our Jewish brothers and sisters, theirs circulate 8 to 11 times, which means they keep their wealth within their community.
I agree.
Okay, we have a Nike store here. They're going to spend $20 for Nikes, but yet won't take the time to come and sit and talk to you for 15 minutes.
I agree with that. I agree with everything you just said prior, but the only thing is, it didn't answer my question, right? So what you said is true. Those things we do need, but my question was, how does people get back in touch with our God, right? And your answer, I want to show you something out of the Bible. I know you don't fully believe it, but we're going to walk you through it because we want to build as a people. I'm going to show you one thing.
If I may.
I gave you a chance to speak. Let me answer, and then I give you the floor back. We just do it decently in order. When you're speaking, I won't cut you off, and we just show the same respect. All right, listen to this.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, verse 3. For thus saith the Lord, ye have sold yourselves for naught.
So when you look at the back of community, we have sold ourselves. We went through the sub-Saharan slave trade, which is a slave trade through northern Africa, which was carried out upon us by the Arabs as well as the Hamitic African tribes. Where God says we sold ourselves for now. You have also the transatlantic slave trade, in which the Europeans, they put forth the most brutal and worst slave trade throughout all time in history, right? We have put ourselves in this situation from the disobedience to our God. But it is.
And ye shall be redeemed without money.
The God of heaven and earth is telling us the only way we're going to get out of this is coming back to Him. It's not going to be with money, because you have economic success powers throughout history, such as Black Wall Street. You have the Black Bottom here in Detroit. You have where us as a people, we came together, we put our dollar together, we prospered. Well, what did they do? They dropped bombs on us. They caused the riots throughout the city of Detroit and destroyed people's homes, destroyed people's businesses. They caused civil unrest. And the reason that this was allowed, because we never came together as a collective to serve our God.
That's
why it's happening.
But also,
Do you agree with what I said, though?
but also because we didn't have any support in law enforcement. We didn't have any legislative support that made laws that said that we had just as much right to maintain wealth as our white counterparts.
So if we was to, as a people, get into positions such as government, such as the legislation branch, and we was able to, as a people, as a collective, get enough people in there, do you think we'd be able to make change?
If the people were for the people and by the people, that would be a great step forward. Right now, everyone is about themselves. Everyone is about their wealth that they can get out of.
Let's say these people that we put in are for the people. Do you think it would make change?
I think it's a great start. You start making laws such as when we here have the laws that are beneficial to us as well as anybody else. That is a great start. We're behind the eight ball. What you're saying regarding our spirituality is absolutely true, because they took away our spirituality when they made us up. What you're saying is not. We are not. There's no disagreement.
Let me make the point about what you said about as far as the legislation, right? Because we know that this problem that we have is a systemic problem, right? The same people who pushed out these lies concerning the Bible, as far as they say Jesus was white, when we can look inside the Bible and we can point to the fact that they are black men. We can go into the Bible where Moses himself tells you he's a black man, right? But these people, they put up these images throughout our communities. Now, they force us into slavery, right? And this is the problem. Give me Job 14 and verse 4, right? This is it. Because this is concerning the government. If we was to, as a people, like there's the swoop that's set by the door. If we was to get in there, learn what we need to do for our people and apply it and get enough people into the government, I'm going to show you how that won't work. I'm going to show you. Listen to this.
This is the book of Job, chapter 14, verse 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean?
The unclean thing is this system, America. The Bible prophesies that America will be destroyed with nuclear fire. There is no way to infiltrate America and take it back to black people. But I'm going to tell you this. America wasn't set up on voting. America, they didn't come and ask the Native Americans, let's get together and have a vote to see who gets the land. They didn't come to the western coast of Africa. The white man didn't go there and say, let's have a vote and see how many people want to go into slavery. You look at Rome, you look at Greece, you look at all the major empires the white man has set up. They didn't vote for that stuff. That's not how we gonna change our communities through voting, because it was set up on impurity values. I'll show you one more thing. First Maccabees 1:1. Because I'm gonna show you what happens when the white man gets in power, right? And I'm gonna show you why we need to come back to the Bible. And then I'm gonna also prove how we know the Bible is a true book, right? We go to First Maccabees. This book is out of the Apocrypha. You familiar with the Apocrypha? The 14 hidden books that was taken out by the Protestant church, right? So inside this book, right, we're going to go to the first time the white man took control of this planet Earth. I'm going to show you that. It was under a Macedonian by the name of Alexander. You familiar with this history? Did I make this up? So this is must be true that we're about to read out of the Bible. Let's see.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that.
Give me some time, sis. Give me some time. Be patient. Read on.
And it happened after that.
I want you to pay attention, bro. I want you to listen.
I know
See,
you
you have a good conversation. Listen good.
I know this bastard line
This
right
is First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. Read. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes.
So this history reading is concerning Alexander. History knows him as Alexander the Great. We call him Alexander the Greek because there was nothing great about him. Right? We're going to jump down to verse 10. Listen to this.
Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And his servants bare rule, every one in his place.
So his servants, Ptolemy, Cassander, Lysimachus, and the other one not coming to me, but 4 kings, 4 generals, huh?
Ptolemy,
Yeah, Ptolemy, Cassander, yeah. So these kings were set up after he passed, right? But listen to what God says happened.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them, many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
So God says when Alexander and the Greeks came into power, evils was multiplied throughout the earth. Why? Because during the time of the Greeks, they forced people to leave their religions and worship their God.
Bring it out!
They forced our people, who were the Jews, who had their own language, had their own culture. They forced us to change who we were and start worshiping them. Some people say, no, that's not true. That's not true, right? But let's find out. Go to First Maccabees.
It's absolutely true. I agree.
As a historian, I can see that you're a historian. You would have to agree with it because you agree with facts, right? Where did this image come right here? In our communities, we had these images set out throughout all Christianity.
Right, it can't be the Michelangelo's uncle or his boyfriend.
Absolutely. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Donatello, the 3 Ninja Turtles. They named after these famous Renaissance painters who painted all the images throughout Europe as a white man. But prior to that, look at here, up here. This is the color of Christ prior to Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. What do you see here?
That there was originally black people.
Do you see that, young man? What do you see? What color is Mary and Christ here? Black, right? Y'all can see that too as well, right? Prior to the Renaissance, I want y'all to see this one too. Look here, they have an image of Christ. You see what he looks like here? What is this painter doing here? What is he doing? He's painted, this is called iconoclasm. This is why a large portion of the black community have turned from the Bible. Because they went inside the Bible and they saying it's not adding up with what I've been taught as a young man from my mother, from my father, from the pastors in my community. This is why I can see why you have reserve, animosity, or no, that's not the right word, but you don't subscribe to the Bible completely. But the problem is not the Bible. The problem is who has been teaching us this Bible. I'm going to show you that. Listen to this.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48. And laid open the book of the law.
So when the Greeks came into power, they found our Bible, the book of the law. Because as a people, we walked around with our text, our history. We walked around our laws, statutes, commandments. We walked around our genealogy. They took those things in the time of the Greek and they burned the Bibles. So we have a group of Israelites by the name of the Maccabees, the Hasmonean dynasty, who went in and they went to war with the Greeks and they took back the Bible. And when they opened the Bibles, what did they find? Read again?
Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
They painted their images in our Bibles. So before then, they knew Christ was black. But what did they do? They, just like you brought up John Henry Clark, there's a book that he did. It's not Russian icons, it's another one that he did where they went throughout all Europe. And well, not all Europe, they went across Russia and they found all the czars, all the Byzantine paintings that was painted from that time, and they was all black men. There was recently a viral clip saying that Putin had released or opened the vote to this, right? Now, we don't know what he was saying, but they know that these images exist. They know Jesus Christ was a black man.
Well,
They
they
know
explained
the
it.
true Israelites was a black man. That is the question, right? Because you're a smart guy. Why would they paint him white? What would be the point?
In order to justify slavery, if they saw that God was black and they couldn't justify black people being slaves.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think. Now add to that thought, to not only to justify slavery, but also to set up white supremacy. Because in slavery, if you pledge to a white God, if you believe God is white, every time you do an act unjust to you, you will look at the person who's doing that as God.
Bring it up.
That's why in our communities, a lot of people. Huh? Cut the mic?
Yeah.
What's wrong? Can we turn it down? No? All right, I can yell. I can be louder than the mic, just so you know. All
Bring
praise
it
to
up.
the Most High. Now, let's go to Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. Listen to this. Right? Since the authorities, see, look, the authorities don't even want this message to come out.
That's
But
right.
they can't stop the God's message. I want to show you
That's
something.
right.
Because we want to show the true image of Christ according to the Bible.
Bring it
Because
up.
we, Israel United Christ, we believe wholeheartedly this book is true. And we can prove it through the prophecies. We can prove it through history. And we can prove it through what is to come.
That's
Let me
right.
show you. Read what you got.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 14.
Read it.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Now y'all see his image here. I want y'all to take a look. I want you to come forth. You as well. You too, young brother. I want y'all to come forth, right? Because this is the true image of Jesus Christ, the Black Messiah.
That's right.
I know a lot of people will reject this image. Why? Because all their life, they was called black people or thugs, pimps, and scoundrels, right? But I want you to know, this is what the Son of God looks like, and this is what God himself looks like.
That's right.
And there will come a day when the whole earth will have to bow to this man here. That's
right.
Black man. Read what you got.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
White like wool. Wool is a texture. The color was white. We know it's not saying the white as in wool, because wool also comes in black. There's also black sheep. But they're specifically saying his was white. It's like, I can look at your beard. You older than myself. I see the whites growing in, right? If you take off, there's probably some white in there too. Some of our older people, they shave that. God, that is you coming to your true godly essence.
That's
Read
right.
on.
As white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of
His
fire.
eyes was red because his first miracle that's documented is he turned water into what? Into wine. When black people drink wine, what happens to their eyes? They get red, absolutely. Somebody right now is looking, no, that's not true. I don't believe that. Give me Genesis 49. That's why we like to prove everything we saying, because we went to church for hundreds of years. It didn't prove nothing. They told us Jesus was white. We bowed down. It didn't prove nothing. So we want to prove so there's no shadow of there's no doubt about what we bringing out. Read what you got.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 12. His eyes shall be red with wine.
Judah eyes shall be what?
His eyes shall be red with wine.
What a lot of people fail to see is the Old Testament prophesied what was to come concerning Jesus. That's why if we get to the New Testament, Israel was always looking for a savior. The thing is, Israel wanted the salvation to come in because during that time period, who was ruling over there? The Romans. And who are the Romans today? Here. So-called Caucasian race. The Romans was ruling over our people in Jerusalem at that time. That's why when you went through Jerusalem, it was many people rising up saying that they was the Christ. There was many revolutions trying to start, and Rome was putting false messiahs to death. But in the case of Jesus Christ, they just put the real Messiah to death. You understand what I'm saying? Go back.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 15.
Uh-huh.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
His feet was fine brass. What color is brass, brother?
Burnt brass is dark.
Burnt brass is dark. Young lady, what color is brass? You don't know what color brass is?
English is not my first language.
Oh, English. Where are you from? Sweden. Okay. You know what a saxophone is? What color is it?
Gold,
Gold. And gold is a derivative of what color?
brown,
Brown. Absolutely. So, but he said burnt. Gold is what?
Burnt brass, so it was black.
So it was black. So if you burn that brass, it would turn a dark color.
And read on. As if they burned in a furnace.
Uh-huh.
And his voice as the sound of many waters.
And he also spoke loudly because he gave a speech to 5,000 people. With no microphones. He was fine with the microphone being off. You understand? So what did we learn? Jesus the Christ is a black man. You accept that?
I recognize it when he was born and he was able to go into Egypt and be able to go in and hide. So
That's absolutely right.
As a person, he was definitely a person of the dark.
Young lady, do you accept that?
he was Middle Eastern, he was white.
If he was Middle Eastern, he wasn't white. I wanna push back on that point, right? Because the term Middle Eastern, right? Was it that a term that existed when Jesus Christ walked?
Well, actually, both of the terms they consider anybody from Asia, Asiatic. So a lot of these terms, I mean, black, white, none of it.
But you got to think about it. The word Middle Eastern is Middle and East from where?
I mean, it was.
That is a directional point. So it's got to be in the middle and east from a particular place.
Yes.
Where is Middle and East from where?
Africa.
No, from Europe. It's the Middle East because it's Middle and East from Europe. That term is a term that came from Europeans. Prior to the 1700s, there was no such thing as Middle East.
That's right.
And the reason I say it's not Africa because prior to the Europeans, what that landmass we know today is Israel was a part of Africa.
Yeah.
It was a part of Africa. It was called the land of Canaan prior to the Israelites going in there. And Canaan is one of the sons of Ham. Or Kim, what you call today Kemet, but it's Kemet. He's one of the sons of Ham. So therefore, that land cannot be Middle and East to Africa because it is Africa.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
You're right on that.
No, and then the reason we have to push back on those different terminologies is because these are white supremacist thoughts. This is why when you say the reason they say Middle Eastern, no, Jesus Christ had to be Middle Eastern. They say that because when you think Middle Eastern, who do you think of?
Very, very likely.
You think of Arab. That's the first thing comes to mind as an Arab. But no. Israel is in Africa.
That's right.
The Israelites came out of Egypt, which is in Africa. I know there are Arabs in Egypt today, but they are not the ancient Egyptians. If you go inside the pyramids and you look upon the hieroglyphs, these are black people. These are black people. And the story of the Exodus is written on those hieroglyphs. Did you know that? The story of the Exodus is written on those hieroglyphs.
The tomb at Beni Hassan. It dates to 1700 BCE. Because no one has looked for evidence of the Exodus in this period, the tomb has never been linked to the biblical story. And yet, there is a perfectly preserved wall painting here that records an ancient migration into Egypt from the area of modern Israel.
How a certain group of black people had another group of black people. You know what I'm saying? If you look inside the different Ramses monuments, you will find those different things because the Israelites built those things.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children